Hello, everyone. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. I have a great show. Listen, we found a company online that has incredible reviews. As a matter of fact, when my team brought me the company and they said, hey, Jake, we need to get Charley Boyce on the show because we need to talk about how he's able to build such a remarkable business with so many incredible reviews. I was like, listen, let's get Charley on the phone. Let's ask him to come on board. He has over 500 reviews on Facebook, and he averages a 4.8. So he's got a 4.8 star review on Facebook, and he's got a 4.9 star review on Google. And listen to this, with over 2.6 thousand reviews. So Charley's doing something right. I had to bring him on because very rarely do you see somebody in a business that's doing so many things right where the customers absolutely love what they're doing. He's in the air conditioning, plumbing, and electric space. He's got, of course, Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric. He's the president of the company. He's a hyper-local company. But when I saw the reviews, I said to myself, listen, we need to bring him on the show. We need to learn what he's doing so right for so many customers with his company. Charley, welcome to the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Oh, appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Charley, I mean, what you're doing is remarkable. Everybody loves what your company's been doing for so many years. Let's start, though, by pulling the lens back to 30,000 feet like we always do on the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. And tell us what Paschal Air is all about.
I'd say mainly just customer service. I mean, I know it's pretty vanilla, but just do a really good job. Take care of your customers, take care of your internal customers, your employees, just kind of focus on those two things. And, it seems to work. So keep doing it.
I love it. Now, Charley, you're focused in Arkansas. You're in, 3 different areas in Arkansas. You've got a great team. When we start thinking about the number of reviews you have, especially in this electric, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric space, and you primarily focus in the residential sector, how much training goes on with the people that go out into the homes? I would imagine you constantly train them to make sure they understand exactly what the needs of your customers are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a great point. And really we train in a couple different areas. I mean, it's obviously, customer service. We are in the skilled trade. So whether it be air, plumbing, or electric, I mean, there's certainly, we have journeyman electricians or plumbers or HVAC guys. So, we certainly trade on the technical. We train with safety, obviously, and then in the customer service side as well. So yeah, a lot of training and we have a certain way of doing things, and when our customer calls us, they need to have the same experience, whether it's technician A or technician Q that goes out there. Like we need to have a standard that we live up to each and every day.
See, I love it. And of course, researching what you do at Paschal and looking at all the reviews, one thing that comes very, very, prominently through is this sort of systematic approach that you have, this system that you've built, the way in which you like to treat your customers the same way and the way in which your technicians sort of approach things in the same way. So where did that come from, Charley? Where did that idea where you just want to be consistent through and through come from?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where it came from, but I mean, it's for us, it's just people and process. And I think as we've grown, when I got here, I've been here 10, 11 years. And when we got here, we were say 20 people, and today we're 200. And so it's really, we're really good at taking care of customers and doing a good job, making sure Mr. and Mrs. Smith is happy. And it's easy to do, when you are a lot smaller, but then how do you grow that? How do you scale that across, different locations, different states? And I think that's a little bit more challenge. And for us, it's just people and process. I mean, it's very simple. And we just always come back to that.
I love it. It's sort of like the building blocks of a great company. And one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show, Charley, is so many entrepreneurs forget about those building blocks. They forget that the single most important asset that they have at their company is their customer, and the way in which, you lead with the team, with Paschal. It's really remarkable because the customers, based on those, recommendations and based on what they're saying about your company, they respect the fact that you respect them. And I love that so much. One of the other things that you're known for is really getting back to customers very, very quickly. Let's talk about that. Where does that come from? How are you able to get back to your customers so quickly when they reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, there's a couple different things there, but you're mentioning the reviews. And I think what is nice, some people kind of shy away from those reviews and we really lean into them. And the good news with what we do is the feedback loop is incredibly fast. Yes, we do have a good reputation. A lot of times our reputation precedes us, but if we're out there today not doing a good job for our customers, like we are going to know immediately. So, I think we're just very intentional in our customer experience and when they are upset or we didn't live up to the standards, then they're going to let us know. And we really kind of lean in and embrace those. And we get on the phone immediately and, hey, we appreciate the feedback. Obviously we came up short. What can we be doing? What do we need to do? And I think a lot of times when people take the time to, leave that 1-star review or whatever it is, like they're genuinely saying, hey, I have a problem and I'm really hoping that you can fix it. So, I think doing that. And then the scale question is providing a place to where our guys and girls can come in and work, where we can keep adding people, and being able to turn things around. A lot of people right now, and we're no different, but a lot of people right now, it's hard to get good people, or it's, a lot of times we have more business than we can get to. Great problem to have, but still a problem nonetheless. And just making sure you're offering an environment where you keep, attracting people, retaining people, you're growing your people. If you got the workforce, then you can get to the customers and keep growing the thing.
Yeah, I love it, Charlie. And of course, you have so many people on staff that have been there for so many years. They stick with it. They stick with the company. So something about that corporate culture really resonates for them. And of course, corporate culture starts at the top. What's the thing that you feel from an entrepreneurial standpoint with regard to respecting the people that work beside you that resonates for you? How important is that respect that you give the people working at Paschal Air?
Yeah, so I was raised kind of in a sports environment around teams, and I was fortunate enough to be around and a part of some really, really great teams. So I think it's a team environment. And for us, I think all I really focus on is, what do our customers want? And I'm going to model the company around delivering for our customers. And then what do our, say, internal customers, what do our employees want? They want this, and this. Okay, well, I'm going to focus on delivering for 1 and 2 and make sure our, internal and external customers are happy. And, then the company is always going to be fine. So, I think people have in their head, like the higher you go, really for us, it's like the higher you go, the lower you go. So it's just very, very servant mentality. And we're here to help our customers. We're here to help people. And again, if those two are really happy, it'll ultimately get you where you want to go. But it's really just to serve others. And it's a team atmosphere.
Yeah, I love it, Charlie. And of course, in a business like yours, there's so many components. I mean, you've got the trucks that have to move around, the county. You've got to make sure the trucks are kept nice and clean and that they're up to date. And then you've got the technicians and you've got people that, are sort of the customer service people and the people that answer the phones and the people that handle the paperwork and everything under the umbrella of a great company you're managing very, very well. When we think about hiring, Charlie, and we think about, looking at people to join your team at Paschal Air, what's the single most important thing that you look for in a quality of someone to join your team?
Yeah, so culture is paramount for me. That's what really matters. It's again kind of that team dynamic and how we're doing. And I think through the years we've really learned they need to be able to technically do the job that we are asking them to do, whether they're in the field or in the office. So they need to be able to technically perform, but then how do they fit the culture? And really the technical side is half of it. What is the attitude? What's the intangibles? Do they get along with the culture? There's times where we've had like an A talent, if you will, but a C or D attitude for whatever the reason. and those are not a good fit for us culturally. And so I think as we've kind of gone along and grown and progressed is really being able to identify what makes a good Paschal person versus not. So technical is just half of it for us.
Yeah, I love it, Charlie. Now, of course, in the middle of the summer, it gets pretty hot down in Arkansas, right? And
yeah,
in the middle of the winter, it gets a little cold. So I would imagine when somebody has a problem with their heating or cooling, depending on the time of year, they need action fast. I mean, they're reaching out and they're saying, hey, man, I need somebody out here now. So how do you handle people that just want and need this immediate response? Do you have a crack team of experts inside that sort of get back to people and set up appointments? How does all that work?
Sure. No, absolutely. So yeah, when people call here, I mean, we understand peak season versus non-peak season. And when we're in the summertime, here, May through August is really hot. And then it can be also really cold. Or if we have plumbing problems and you're out of hot water or drains are backing up, it is an urgent thing and that people need to get resolved and they're not going to wait. So it's making sure that we're staffing the company such that we can handle peak season volumes. And then, we measure it internally, what is our response time? If people are engaging us on social media or web chat or what have you, how long is it taking us to respond? And what's our turnaround times? Are we getting to people? And again, the reviews, kind of like you mentioned, if you're not getting to people, they will let you know. The feedback is very, very quick.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, Charlie, you're in the service business, right? And we have a lot of entrepreneurs watching this show. And of course, for the people watching the show, you can see why I wanted to bring Charlie on. I mean, this is a blocking and tackling kind of a business, to use a sports pun. I mean, it's just like any other great business. You have to block, you have to tackle, you have to put one step in front of each other, and you have to have a systematic approach to providing the world-class service to your customers. Now, Charlie, what's the one thing that you want your customers to say once you've left the home and you're done with the job? What's the one most important thing you want them to say?
Yeah, I mean, maybe said another way, I just want them smiling. That's it, right? And so when you call us, nobody wants to call us. We're not buying a car, or a new TV, or so they're expecting to have a bad experience. Their air is out or they're out of hot water. Again, they're not calling us to just see how we're doing. I mean, they're calling us because they need us. So the bar is not set too high in our industry. They're expecting to have problems and I want it to be a refreshing, just pleasant experience. And when we leave, whether it's from the first phone call or the last time we're on site, I just want them to think, you know what, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And, maybe we just bring a smile. And again, if they're smiling, they're calling us back, and that means we keep growing.
I love it. You keep on growing. Of course, they tell their friends, relatives, coworkers, and neighbors about you as well. Everybody wants to have a guy or a gal. And what they say is, hey, I've got my guy, I got my gal over at Paschal Air. Give him a call or her a call. Let's talk about sports. You mentioned sports. I know that you've been very active in your life. And what types of lessons have you learned from playing sports or coaching sports that you brought over to Paschal Air to build the company?
Yeah, as I kind of think through, I really think that probably built me more than anything. I think just leadership and understanding, it's a team deal. Nobody does this thing alone. So it doesn't matter how good this person is or that person is. We're all interconnected. And so we win together and we lose together, and that's the way we look at it. So I just think accountability and leadership and life is a team sport, I guess you could say. And really just what made us successful in our athletic endeavors really, really translates exceptionally well over to the business world.
I love it, Charlie. Of course, I'm listening to this. I'm looking at you through the Zoom, and I'm saying to myself, this is like a mini Harvard MBA event. When you go to Harvard, you sit in the classroom, there's a master instructor and they're teaching you case studies, and the students at Harvard, they give their input, and half the class says, the company should do one thing. Half the class says that the company should do another thing, but it's all kind of done in this insular environment in a classroom. But entrepreneurs like you, I mean, you're pounding it. You've got one foot on the floor, walking, one foot being put in front of the other, and you're learning things sort of as you go. And this classroom that you've been involved with at Paschal has been remarkable because you're actually doing it. It's not just in a classroom. You're in the real world as an entrepreneur. So having said that, I wanted to take this conversation a little bit to entrepreneurship. And again, thank you so much for cutting time out for me today. This has been a great interview so far. It's a blocking and tackling interview. And I tell you, I talked to so many entrepreneurs, Charley, and they forget about the blocking and tackling. They're so thinking about things that are so esoteric and out in left field, they forget about the customers. And that's why I wanted you on the show, because it's all about the customer at Paschal Air. So let's talk about this a little bit. Entrepreneurs watching the show, maybe they're hitting a roadblock. Maybe they're hitting a pothole in the road. Maybe they're hitting a wall they can't bust down or break through. So maybe you could give some insight or some recommendations or maybe some motivation to the younger entrepreneurs watching the show, Charley, about what it takes to what you need to do when you hit a roadblock in the road in business and how to get through it.
Yeah, and we've certainly ran up against many and continue to make mistakes daily. So yeah, to your point, there's not necessarily like a book out there. The people at Harvard much smarter than we are, but we're just out here figuring it out and making it up as we go, and just kind of looking at the reactions of customers and employees. And again, we've made a lot of mistakes along the way and continue to make them. But I think what you're talking about is back to basics. Is are you doing the little things right? And don't focus on all these other things until you're doing those things right. And when we're winning at the small things, when we're doing the little things right, then we can grow into those other items. But until that foundation is laid, people process. I mean, I always just come back to that. So usually when and if we're having problems or what have you, we've probably forgotten about the basics or we're falling short in a certain area, but it's people and process. And then I think as we continue to grow, like I've even here lately, it's more even about the people than it even is the process. You can have a great process, but if you got the wrong people, it doesn't matter how good your process is. So just, again, kind of cliche, but get the right people on the bus, right people in the right seats, and watch them go nuts.
I love it. It's just like a football team. If they're not blocking and tackling, then you're not going to win. If it's a basketball team, if you're not blocking out on the rebounds, you're not going to win. It's like a baseball team. If your pitcher can't throw strikes or, hit the corners, you're not going to win. And the same thing. And the one thing that really resonated for me during our interview is you said, sometimes you look at somebody that comes in and they're an A+ sort of technician. I mean, they've got it going on. They know everything that needs to be known, but they maybe have a 2 or 3 attitude out of 10, or you don't think they're going to fit or mesh with your team, and they're not the right person. And in that particular case, you're going to pass because you understand how important it is to not only have the great technician, but also the type of technician that can make your company grow by giving you, smiling customers. And that's really, really powerful. Charley, this has been remarkable. I mean, I love these types of interviews because so many people can learn from this. I talk to a lot of startup founders in the technology space, and they're all excited about their technology platform, and they're all excited about this and that. But when you start talking to them, they forget about the single most important thing, which is the customer. And if you don't have customers, you don't have raving fans, you don't have a business. I don't care what you're doing on the other side. So this is a great reminder for so many people watching the DotCom magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight series that it's about the customer. It's about blocking and tackling, like you say, Charley, people and process. I think that's going to be the name of the book when you finally write one. It's about the people and it's about the process. But again, you just said a real keynote that it's maybe not even about the process so much as it's about the people. And I love that so much. Charley, I know you've only cut out a certain amount of time for me today. You're helping so many people. I mean, I'm going to go back and listen to this again. I'm going to have my entire staff listen to the show. I don't normally do that, but again, it gets you sort of focused in on the client, on the customer. And so many entrepreneurs need to listen to this and grab a hold of what you said. It's really pearls of wisdom. And while you think it may be basic and baseline, I'm telling you right now, from the entrepreneurs I talk to, and I talk to so many around the world, what you just hit on is a golden key to success. And that's why the people at Paschal Air are doing such great work with so many people, with so many reviews, and you're just burgeoning at the seams, and you're going to continue to grow. So Charley, thank you so much for coming on the show and giving us this insight that we all need to be reminded of so many times in so many ways. And I think you just nailed it right on the head.
Sounds good. Really appreciate it.